It's like, but if he's leaving, it's like when it comes down to it, I will say this: he may be leaving and he's losing a spot, but somebody else is gaining a spot. You know what I mean?
I mean, somebody's getting put up on the depth chart a little bit higher thanks to that.
And by that guy is one Daniel King. First of all,
So
Daniel, I tried
well,
to steal your
let's go ahead and
shtick.
point out what Daniel King is already a starter,
So,
but
key starter.
but he's becoming a key starter for this, especially for the O line. So Daniel King, as most of us know, was the Troy transfer.
Hold up. I know I still got Daniel King. I just got to put it. I just got to change it a certain way. The
He's
starter.
the star. So he's becoming a pretty good. He's becoming a key piece for the offensive line and once again, like I said, he was the transfer in from Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll admit, like from what I've seen so far, he has been the most consistent since week 1 from an overall standpoint.
I can see that. I can see it. But then again, if you ain't got a good center, you ain't being able to do jack squat.
Even he said himself, like it's coming together. Like sure, it's not like 100% just yet, but it's coming together.
There's something wrong with me.
There is something wrong with you.
First of all, ain't nobody ask you to co-sign on that.
Ain't nobody didn't tell me to co-sign on it.
Ain't
So
nobody asked you to co-sign on that, sir.
sign the bottom line.
Ain't no. That's forgery.
I'm gonna tell you the bottom line.
That's a forgery. The potato salad was a forgery. If any of y'all can tell me where that quote is from, you are goaded. You are goaded. If anybody can tell me where that quote is from, and I know the exact moment in the movie that I'm referenced to, but if anybody can tell me what movie that's from, you're goaded. I'll give you a big thumbs up and make a sign and hold up your YouTube, Twitter, whatever your social media handle is. I'll make a sign right here for you and say congrats right here if you can tell me where that's from. What you looking for?
I'm trying to see if some people like track offensive line stats, seeing if they had any.
They do. It's usually like Pro Football Focus or something like that. They're
Yeah.
hard to find though. And I wish we talked about this in the offseason. Hey, ESPN, College Football Reference, NCAA. I need y'all to start tracking the big boys stats, bro. The big boys up front who be getting the pancake blocks and everything. I need y'all to track these stats because for some reason, y'all have these stats when it comes to the draft combine. Like y'all have these graded like measurements and critiques for these linemen. But then in the middle of the season, we don't have any stats to back up these grades that you're giving the linemen. Like y'all don't have a defenders blocked. Like how many different defenders they blocked in a single game. Y'all don't have like protections or stuff like that. Like I need those. I need that to be a stat. Figure that out. Definitely pancake blocks for sure. I remember pancakes used to be a thing.
Yeah, it used to be a stat.
Like pancakes
Let's
used to
see.
be a stat.
That's for a
Call them
kicker.
like
That's not what I'm looking for.
flapjacks.
That's not what I'm looking
Oh,
for
that
at all. There he is.
so. Side
There
note:
we go.
the Indiana Fever played the Atlanta Dream today in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
and Caitlin Clark. She's been out for the season, but to the game, Caitlin Clark wore black Air Forces, and the Fever won tonight. Won their first game in 10 years. They said
Hilarious.
they said she wore black forces and they won their first game. I'm like, oh Lord, no. Not Caitlin Clark and black Air Force energy. Oh Lord.
So yeah, they don't
I'll,
even on Sports Reference, they don't have any stats for him. But overall, like I said, he's been solid. haven't really had any. And even then, they just recently, like I said, they recently interviewed him for the pregame and all that, and he basically just flat out said, "It's like at the end of the day, it's coming together. Like we haven't really, it's like they haven't really got the whole thing down yet." And even Belichick said himself, it's like he's improved a lot since he's been here. He's a big, strong guy, but his footwork, technique, and conditioning, he's put a lot into it. You can see the improvement that he's made really in the last few weeks has jumped out. And he goes on to say King is one of the several players on UNC's roster who's transferred from a smaller school to showcase their abilities at a Power 4. Coming to Chapel Hill, he had something to prove. Which he said, I came in with an edge. I wanted to prove something in my career. Coming from a smaller school, I wanted to show the coaches that I could compete at this level and be a good player for the team. And let's see here. And Chris Lindbergh has improved since his first game. Is what he was. Chad Lindbergh.
Chad
When he asked him this Q&A, he said one thing about Chad is he's a really hard worker and he comes to work every day ready to go. I think that speaks volumes to Chad as a player coming in. He was looked at as a guard, maybe a tackle, and for him to step up and play center, I think that speaks a lot about him as a player. And which I'll also agree, Lindbergh definitely looked better in the Richmond game than he did TCU and Charlotte.
Nice. As long as they're getting better, man. Oh, almost died. Jesus help.
And somebody asked him, well, like, what's it like and why is it different blocking for Gio? He said, it's something I'm not used to. Where I came from, our quarterback wasn't very mobile. So for me as a player, it was something I had to get used to. But I think that's a good thing. That's a good strength that we have on our team. Whenever we get used to it, it's always a good thing. The defense has to go about their game plan a little bit differently when you have a guy like Gio because you have to respect his arm and his legs. I think they kind of put more of a strain on the defense. So,
do you think?
Which I don't argue that.
Do you think it's harder in the long run to block for a mobile quarterback for a lineman, or do you think it's easier for them to block for a mobile quarterback when they've gotten used to him?
I think it's a little bit of 50-50 because I think I think it's easier to block for a mobile quarterback if you're expecting just a general pocket pass. But if you have guys, let's say like Lamar, who's going to be running around for what feels like 4 days, yeah, you're probably worn out because it's like, yo, I'm trying, like, I can only hold this block for so long, or I can only chase you across the field, but so many times before I'm going to have to look at you like, listen, I'm going to need you to stay in a pocket for about the next 3 or 4 plays.
I always felt like linemen would enjoy or appreciate blocking for a mobile quarterback because a mobile quarterback, when it's all said and done, a mobile quarterback can make your mistake look like a highlight.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
so that's why I think it's
one of my favorite highlights.
Like mobile guy.
One of my favorite highlights I will always say is when Michael Vick dropped back and he has like dude is blind coming at him, and you just see Vic duck, dude just swips right over the top, and he comes out, and I'm like, that lineman was praying to God you missed that man missed you because he knew he messed that whole block up, and because you turned it into a highlight and a first down, people will forget. Hey, yo, he missed that block.
Was like, I just got that man killed.
Right.
He's like, I whiffed bad.
Where if you have like a Peyton Manning who's very stationary in the pocket, you ain't expecting Peyton to move that much in the pocket. If you missed your block and it's on his blind side, yeah, he about to get kill shotted.
Because like you said, with a pocket passer, it's like you know for a fact you have to make sure that you don't make a mistake with this pass blocking, because if you do, it's gonna get him destroyed. It's gonna get my quarterback potentially hurt. But with a mobile guy, there's a greater chance of if he gets by me, there's a good chance that this guy's gonna escape and I'm gonna be able to get this block a second time.
Right.
I can redeem myself in the same play.
That's why I felt like linemen would appreciate blocking for a mobile guy more.
I go from pass blocking to now I'm lead blocking on this play.
Right.
And I can redeem myself later on.
Best thing for the team was
It did.
TCU.
It caused a whole lot of media to go away because
And
I haven't heard
they
a whole lot
immediately
about it since.
they immediately
right.
said UNC trash. All right, hype's dead. We ain't even worried about it.
It's like, you know what? Yep, definitely overhyped. Who we got? Texas. We'll talk about Texas from now on. And I didn't even heard a whole lot about Texas either. Thank gosh.
Man, listen.
So happy about that.
Man, listen. You and I both know I can't stand Texas. So the less they're talking about, the better in my eyes.